Paris, famously, is always a good idea. But on the off chance it had slipped your mind, the Summer Games surely propelled it right back to the top of your dream trip list, alongside the gorgeous and varied country the City of Lights calls home. Which is why we're so happy to be getting local insights from today's guest, Anais Lecuyer, Project Manager of Leisure Tourism for the France Tourism Board. Anais Lecuyer, welcome to Well Traveled with AAA.
Hi, thank you for having me today.
Well, in light of the recent Olympics, the City of Lights is on everyone's mind. For people who are inspired by the Games to go visit Paris in the coming year, has the city become even more traveler-friendly as a result of the Games? And what kind of changes should visitors look out for and look forward to?
Well, it's true that Paris is often seen as eternal because it has this incredible ability to constantly reinvent itself while staying true to its essence at the same time. The city is steeped in history with its iconic landmarks and charming neighborhoods that seem timeless. And the recent Olympics in Paris have indeed prompted a variety of enhancements to the city's infrastructure and visitor experience. There's been new developments, including improved public transportation options, like expanded metro lines and upgraded stations. For example, at Orly Airport in the south of Paris, it's now connected to the heart of the city in 20 minutes with the Metro Line 14.
Oh, wow. It's amazing.
It's a fully automated metro line. It's really fast. And so now it's even more, it's really easier to connect with both airports to Paris city center.
Uh-huh.
There's also been a push to enhance accessibility throughout Paris. And there's also more and more pedestrian-friendly zones, more and more bike lines, and also better signage in multiple languages. I visited a few months ago Paris again, and I must say the city has changed so much. It almost looked like Amsterdam in some streets, with so many new bike lines and cyclists everywhere.
Right.
And I found it was great. Yeah.
Generally, the city is somehow even more beautiful to visit, more accessible to visit. There are more public facilities available to visitors than before the Olympics.
Yes, there's going to be a lot of new sports venues, parks, public spaces, and they are all part of the Olympic legacy. And these changes not only benefit tourists, but also improve the overall quality of life for Parisians.
That's great. And of course, there are some aspects of the city that we hope never change. What would you say are some of the must-do experiences for people who want a super traditional Parisian interlude?
Well, so Paris is organized in arrondissements, which are like boroughs. So I would recommend for a first-timer, for a first visit, to stay in the 1st to the 11th arrondissement. That is more really like the heart of the city center. Mm-hmm. And then if you already know Paris, if you've already been to Paris, or you want maybe more of a local of the beaten path experience, then you should stay in the 12th or to the 20th arrondissement to explore more residential boroughs.
Once you've landed on which borough you're going to stay in, what are the kinds of experiences that you should aim to have for a super traditional Parisian experience?
Yes, so generally speaking, I would say anywhere you stay in the city, just go to the closest open-air market. There are markets in every borough. They take place about 2 or 3 times a week, usually in the morning. So you just ask your front desk reception at the hotel and they will know which day of the week. And also just, go to the closest boulangerie closest to your hotel or the place you stay at. And as a true Parisian, just sit at the closest cafe to enjoy your croissant. I have a question for you, actually.
Please.
How many boulangeries you think Paris has?
I'm going to go with at least 1,000.
Yes, that's true. It's 1,300 boulangerie in total. So you have a lot of choice to have this authentic Parisian experience.
And I'm sure every neighborhood thinks its own boulangerie is the best, right?
Yeah, yes, exactly. It's a little bit like the best pizza in New York.
Right.
Also, I would say I'm sure that we have some Emily in Paris fans here listening to us today.
No doubt.
I'm French, and I must say I love the show.
Uh-huh.
And we say in French it's a péché mignon, translating as a guilty pleasure.
Right.
And so there are now some walking tours you can take to experience the life of an expat in Paris. So, for example, Emily's apartment located in the historical 5th arrondissement, or the Jardin du Palais Royal, close to Emily's workplace, Savoir, in the 1st arrondissement. And also included in those tours, a stop by a boulangerie to enjoy a French pain au chocolat or croissant. And I think it's a great idea to get this full Parisian experience.
I happen to know on this latest season they also make it to the flea market, one of the biggest flea markets in the.
Oh, okay.
Region.
So
Yes.
that's a good news for me, because I must say I just started watching the show, and I'm still at the 3rd season. So
I'm sorry, I hope that wasn't too much of a spoiler.
yeah, no, it's I mean, it's great that they show those places. If you want to explore outside of the périph', as we say in French, meaning the highway surrounding the city, then it's a good recommendation to visit the flea market called Marché aux Puces.
Exactly.
It's in Saint-Ouen, so in the north of Paris, accessible by metro. It's one of the biggest flea markets in the world, and it's open every weekend. And many times you can see some street jazz bands playing, which adds to the atmosphere, and it's really a must-do for an authentic, off-the-beaten-path experience in Paris.
Ready to take a vacation to France or other amazing destinations around the world? Adding affordable travel insurance could save you thousands if something goes wrong before or during your trip. Even if you've already booked, AAA can help you add travel insurance to your departure. Visit AAA.com/travel insurance to learn more. Paris also serves as you were saying earlier, with that easy airport connectivity. It's an amazing travel hub, whether by flight, by river cruise, train, coach, car. You just have easy access to so many stunning regions from there. So let's start with a perennial favorite, Normandy. What can you share with our listeners about why the region is so beloved and special?
Well, Normandy is cherished for its rich history, particularly its role in World War II, with the D-Day beaches being a reminder of the past. And 2024 marked the 80th anniversary of the D-Day landings.
Right.
But the region also boasts stunning natural beauty and rugged coastlines, picturesque countrysides, and also the region's cuisine. It's really what France is known for, if you really think about it, because just like almost like 80% of Normandy dish are made of butter and cream, but also apple cider and Calvados, which is the local brandy. And without forgetting the famous camembert that is a specialty from Normandy.
Yeah, that's all you need is some butter, some apples, some camembert, and some calvados, and that's a feast.
Yes, and I must say, like my personal favorite dish from Normandy, it's called the poulet valet d'auge, which is a chicken cooked in apple cider flambéed with Calvados, the Normandy local brandy, and topped with sautéed buttered apples and a silky cream sauce. It's just delicious.
Oh my goodness. And what do you like to do in Normandy when you are not indulging in these incredibly decadent dishes?
Well, Normandy is also famed for its impressionist heritage, and so if you like art and impressionism, Monet's garden in Giverny is a must-see. Mm-hmm. But also, there are also other places like Honfleur, picturesque fishing ports, and the stunning white cliffs of Étretat. You're stepping directly into the landscapes that inspired some of the most iconic impressionist paintings, such as Boudin or Monet. Mm-hmm. And experiencing these places in person, it allows you to just see and feel the textures, colors, and light that the Impressionists immortalized on canvas. And it's bridging the gap between art and reality. You just see it with your own eyes when you visit those places. It's truly an immersive experience.
And going back to Emily in Paris, and without giving too much away, I'll just say that fans will also want to make their way to Giverny. And I'll leave it at that. No spoilers.
Well, I know that the chef is from Normandy and is talking a lot about Normandy cuisine. And I saw an image of her in Monet's garden. So, yeah.
Yeah. And you yourself come from nearby, right? You're from... in fact, not far from the fabled Mont Saint-Michel. And I know this isn't a fair question, but for those who've never been, or even for those who have, could you try to put into words just that inexpressible magic of this place and provide a local's perspective on how best to experience Mont Saint-Michel?
Yes, in fact, I grew up in a small village of Brittany, which is the region just close by Normandy, not too far from Mont Saint-Michel. Mm-hmm. And I'm still amazed by it, even after so many visits. So, Mont Saint-Michel, it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It's also one of the smallest towns in France, with only 30 inhabitants per year. So basically, it's a rock formation, and it's connected to mainland at low tide, but becomes an island at high tide. And Mont Saint-Michel is also a marvel of medieval architecture and natural beauty, with its abbey on the top, dating from the 10th century. It's a Gothic architectural masterpiece, and it's surrounded by one of the largest bays in Europe.
The bay is shared by Normandy and Brittany, right?
Yes, so it's a little war going on between Brittany and Normandy, if Mont Saint-Michel belongs to Normandy or Brittany. Right. And the river flowing on the left side or right side of the Mont Saint-Michel is the frontier, the limit between the two regions. But officially, it belongs to Normandy. And people in Brittany usually say that it's okay, we can just, give Mont Saint-Michel to Normandy because we have so many other wonders in Brittany.
Are you enjoying Well Traveled with AAA? Be sure to subscribe to this podcast today and share your thoughts on ratings and reviews. What is your favorite way to experience Mont Saint-Michel?
So for a local's perspective, visiting early in the morning or late in the afternoon can help avoid crowds and enhance the mystical experience. Exploring the abbey itself or enjoying local specialties like the famous omelette or wandering the small streets, I think it's the best experience. And the moment you choose to go is really making the difference. But also, I would recommend for the more adventurous to book a walking tour in the bay. So you would see the Mont Saint-Michel from the bay, from the sands. You can't go on your own because you need a certified guide. because the bay is full of quicksands. And you really need to go with someone who understands the tide, because if not, you could just get surrounded by water, or just get stuck in the sand. So,
Right.
I personally did this 2 years ago, and it was a lot of fun.
And I think you also have some firsthand experience with another amazing kind of outing in France, cycling through the local vineyards. There are so many places in France where you can bike your way through the vines, but maybe you could give our listeners a glimpse of what your own experience was like.
Yes, well, there are so many regions you can cycle through vineyards in France. There is like the Loire Valley, Bordeaux region, Eastern France with Alsace and Champagne, and also Burgundy. The landscape in itself, it's a feast for the eyes. You have rolling hills, picturesque chateaux, scenic vineyards. It's creating a captivating backdrop for your rides. So yes, as you mentioned, I personally did one of those cycling tours in April this year. And at this time of year, the vines are just beginning to awaken from their winter dormancy. So it's an exciting time in the vineyard cycle. The bud starts to swell and new shoots begin to emerge. I booked a group tour, but in fact, we were only 2 people in the tour. So we had the opportunity to ask a lot of questions to our guide and learn a lot about the process of winemaking. And about those cycling tours, my personal tip for you is to rent electric bikes because the vineyards are hilly. So It can be tiring, especially on your way back after the tastings.
I can only imagine, but it's the best kind of tired to be.
Yes, and so along the way, you encounter local winemakers working on their vines, or local people during their morning run, for example, before going to work in the morning. I also had a nice chat with vineyard owners, sharing their knowledge, offering tasting, and they invited us to visit their cave. There were some bottles dating from the 19th century.
Really, it does sound like one of the most truly immersive ways to experience the French countryside.
Yes, the colors are just beautiful, especially by the end of the day as the sun sets and casts a soft orange glow over the vineyards. You really feel a deep sense of connection to the land and its produce.
Well, I'm sold. And French wines, speaking of, are always, famously paired with some of the world's best cuisine. We mentioned some of it earlier. For people who are seriously interested in gastronomy, what cities or regions, beyond the ones we've talked about already, should be at the top of their list?
Well, for gastronomy enthusiasts, cities like Lyon or Dijon are top choices, in my opinion. Lyon is often considered the culinary capital of France. Maybe you know the renowned Michelin star chef Paul Bocuse? So he's from Lyon. And the city is also renowned for its traditional bouchons. So the bouchons are a typical restaurant from Lyon with authentic cuisine made of rich and meat-based dishes such as coq au vin, pâté, sausages, and roast pork. The ambience in those restaurants is cozy, rustic. Just imagine checkered tablecloth, wooden table, mismatched chairs, vintage French posters, old family and friends owner photographs. The atmosphere is intimate and inviting, with oftentimes communal tables, informal interactions between guests and staff.
It's its own kind of immersive experience this time.
Exactly, in the heart of the city. Yeah. It's the aroma of hearty, savory dishes wafted through the restaurant, mixing with the clinking of glasses and the sizzle of food being prepared. This is a true French art de vivre experience there.
For more than 100 years, AAA has been a trusted travel resource committed to helping you enjoy life's journey. Whether you're a seasoned traveler or embarking on your first global adventure, a AAA travel agent can help you find and combine multiple offers, discounts, and member perks, and will work with you to create a personalized vacation experience. Visit AAA.com/travel for details. And then if you want sort of a larger food tour, what would you recommend?
Well, if you want to venture out of the big city, if you have more time, I recommend La Vallée de la Gastronomie, which stands for the gourmet journey in English. So it's a culinary tourism initiative promoted by 3 regions, so Burgundy, Rhône-Alpes, and Provence. And it goes from Dijon, passing through Lyon, all the way to Marseille in the south. So it has gathered hundreds of experiences and itineraries, and it's the ultimate road trip for foodies.
You mentioned that it ends in Marseille in the south of France. So let's stick to that area for a bit. What should our listeners know about the south of France beyond, say, Nice and Cannes? What are some of the lesser known treasures to be discovered in that area?
So beyond Nice and Cannes, the south of France is filled with hidden gems. I would recommend venture to the arrière-pays, as we call it, meaning the inland regions, to get a more authentic feel of the south of France lifestyle. Aix-en-Provence offers charming markets and stunning architecture, and also the Luberon region, which is known for its picturesque village like Gordes or Roussillon. So Luberon, I'm sure you know this region already because it's the famous lavender field region.
Yes.
Which are in full bloom during the summer. Also, the Camargue. It's a unique wildlife and salt flats area. The region is famous for its rich biodiversity. It's a home to a variety of wildlife, including the iconic white Camargue horses, black bulls, and a wide range of bird species such as flamingos. For outdoorsy people, I would also recommend the Cévennes National Park. It offers beautiful landscapes and outdoor activities for family away from the more tourist-heavy areas.
Well, we've covered such a rich variety of landscapes and experiences and flavors. So this last question might be a little tough, but what does well-traveled mean to you?
Being well-traveled means immersing yourself in diverse culture, embracing new experiences, gaining a deeper understanding of the world. It's not just about visiting places. It's also connecting with local people, learning about their customs, appreciating subtleties that make each destination unique. I think if I think of a well-traveled person, I think this would be curious, open-minded, and appreciative of the richness of the diversity of the world. It's not like just checking destinations off a list. It's also kind of adding a new layer to yourself, enriching your personal self and growing. I would say that from my personal perspective, also learning at least the basics of a language of the country you are visiting or you want to visit, it really makes all the difference to be able to understand how the culture and the country works. You know that there are some concepts that just can't be translated, and and knowing the language just open a whole new world to you. So I would encourage every Francophile here to start learning the basics of French and get a deeper connection to its people and the country to prepare the next vacation to France.
Well, in that case, I should say merci beaucoup.
Oui, merci à vous.
You can find all of our interviews with other travel experts from around the world on the Well Traveled with AAA feed on iTunes and Spotify. We hope you'll rate us or leave a comment and let us know what you think. I'm Abby Kozolczyk. Thanks for listening.